Hi there, I'm Namish Patel Owen, and you're listening to Live Your True Self, episode number 117. After 18 years doing corporate, in 2018 it became about doing me, doing what I love. Not that long ago, I too felt stuck, lost, and longing to be something more, asking myself, who am I anyway, and what's my purpose? Full of self-doubt and fear of failure, fast forward to this moment and you'll see a version of me that's true to myself, calm, confident and clear, even in the messiness. Inspired by Krishna's words in the Bhagavad Gita, the mind can be the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So perspective is everything. No matter where you are on your spiritual journey as a high achiever, I'm here to guide you. Together we'll step out of your head, the busyness in your mind, and drop into your heart so that you too can awaken your true self and live life more meaningfully in this moment. Take a deep breath and let's connect within. Welcome back, lovely one. I'm super grateful you're here. How are you? I hope you're finding the good in this season and the month of January. Today, I want to explore a question that can completely shift the way we navigate life's challenges, whether that's something big or small, whether it's in home life or professional life. And it is this question: what is this trying to teach me? I believe there is a lesson in everything. We simply have to be open to see it and receive it. Sometimes it's obvious, and sometimes we have to dig deep for it because we're perhaps heavy in the emotions. But everything that's showing up in our lives is for our growth. It's a teacher, a guide, an opportunity for us to expand, evolve, and elevate ourselves. One thing to remember in this process of asking ourselves, what is this trying to teach me, is that we get to notice our feelings, we get to notice our emotions, and this isn't about pushing them under the carpet. If you feel disappointment about not securing a client or a contract or a promotion, that's totally normal. I'm not saying we ignore how we feel based on the circumstance that we're facing. We absolutely must acknowledge and sit with our true emotions and simply let them flow through us. But here's the shift: instead of falling down a rabbit hole with unhelpful thoughts, we redirect our mind to find the lesson, find the good, find the growth, and use that as fuel to move us forward. And it's really quite simple, but it's super powerful if you really do allow yourself to practice this with an open heart. And for high achievers like us, it can be a real game changer and a way to lovingly return back to our true self and away from perhaps the real heartache behind whatever it is that we have been presented with, whether that was planned, unplanned, and as I say, big or small. Let me share a quick story. Growing my business over nearly 7 years, I've faced many challenges, setbacks, failures, rejections, life's circumstances. And yes, it's been frustrating at times, heavy, and honestly, the world of entrepreneurship is hard work. You really do have to dig deep. And despite all of that, I have learned so much, and who I've become in the process is priceless. Like, this is the truest version of myself in and amongst all the growth from business, from life, from family, all the things. But in the middle of some challenging times, my first instinct was always to kind of fix it, to push harder, to almost like action my way through. It's like, what more can I do? What haven't I done yet? And I'd often question myself, doubt myself, and try to force a way forward, like trying to force myself to do something to try and reach the goal and the outcome, whatever it might be, deep in the mind drama. Yeah, busyness in my mind. But over time, I learned to pause and ask a different intentional question. What is this trying to teach me? And the biggest lesson by far in this whole chapter of my business growth has been this: stay in service, which is seva, and release attachment to the outcome. This is my learning. And I've shared this on the podcast before. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in chapter 2, verse 47, you have a right to perform your actions, but not to the fruits of those actions. So we've been taught to chase outcomes, results, approval, success, achievements, accolades, titles, all the things. And the Gita beautifully reminds us of something softer and stronger. Do the work with presence, with energy, with so much love and heart. Show up with integrity, like give your best, and loosen your grip on how it must turn out. Let go of any expectations and any preconceived ideas of the result of your actions. And this is where peace and freedom lives, I promise you. Not in controlling life, but in gently trusting it, in believing whatever is meant for us will find us. We just get to keep showing up for it day after day after day from our highest energy and from a place of love and service. And as I kept asking myself this question, my perspective shifted. What once felt like, real heavy blocks became like open doorways, and I started to notice patterns in my thinking where I was resisting, where I was pushing too hard, where I was chasing an outcome, where my expectations were attached and high. And I began aligning more deeply from my heart and, tuning into my heart, doing what felt good for me and what feels good for me in terms of my marketing, in terms of my selling, in terms of how I show up, where I show up, how often I show up, and honoring my body and the wisdom within, like, really tuning into my intuitive self. And this aligns so beautifully with yoga philosophy. And in the Gita, Krishna teaches us that every experience, pleasant or challenging, is an opportunity for growth. And this is karma yoga, learning through action and reflection, like total unattachment to the result, to the outcomes. Like, that is not our business. And so by asking this question, what is this here? What is this trying to teach me, again and again in my home life, in my business life, I stop reacting and start listening. And from that place, I can respond with much more presence, much more clarity, much more calm, and in a more intuitive way. And just to finish this story off, last week, I asked myself this question again, which is why it's prompted me for this week's podcast, because a business opportunity came up out of the blue, totally unexpected, and I was tickled by it, but it didn't quite feel right, and it was almost like I sensed a little bit of force. And so I asked myself this question, and do you know what came up? This is the teaching me to listen to my body. That was the teaching, to listen to the quiet whisper of my heart's calling me towards my spiritual path rather than chasing the money. This was the teaching. And when I sat with it, it was pretty loud and clear. And so from asking ourselves this question, we begin to notice the growth, the opportunity, the insight, even in the discomfort. And so even though I let go of this opportunity, actually in doing so, it feels so much more aligned, and I feel really excited by what I'm saying yes to, because I'm saying no to that. So here's the thing. As spiritual high achievers, we're wired to solve problems, control outcomes, and really work towards results. And, we're not shy of hard work and doing all the things. And that really is our gift. And it is amazing until it's exhausting and stressful, and often keeps us stuck in our heads instead of in our body. And asking ourselves this question gently flips the script. Instead of asking why me or why not me, which sometimes our mind can ruminate on, we ask, what is this teaching me? And ever so gently, the challenge becomes a mentor instead of a burden. And really, in your mind, the very thing that frustrated you is actually guiding your next level of growth. And so I invite you, my dear friend, to try this yourself. The next time you feel stuck, stressed, or unsure, pause, take a deep breath, and from a place of curiosity and love, ask yourself, and you can use this like for yourself, and you can also use it with others as well when they're perhaps feeling a little bit stuck, stressed, or overwhelmed by something. What is this trying to teach me? Notice what rises inside you. Notice what comes up. Thoughts, feelings, sensations. These are your teachers speaking. This is the mentor within you. And you don't need an answer right away. You just need presence and curiosity and openness to receiving. And as I said, sometimes it's loud and clear, and other times it's a little bit more subtle, and you might have to sit with it. And It's like turning life into a gentle mirror, showing you where your growth is waiting, where your growth lies. And here's the thing, you can also ask yourself this question when you step outside of your comfort zone. So, like, not only can you ask yourself when you are facing a challenge, for example, but let's just say, for example, you actually put yourself out there and you do something brave, courageous outside of your comfort zone. You put yourself out there despite the nerves and the mind chatter, and something good comes from it. And another quick story, I remember last year I attended a business networking event at IKEA in Southampton. And it was my first one of this particular event. And I didn't know anyone. I didn't know the format or what it was all about. And after some initial mingling, everyone was invited to sit down for the presentation portion of the event. And then after that, the host moved on to the elevator pitch section. And this was an opportunity to share a 60-second pitch with the audience, which on this particular event was, I think it must have been around 120, maybe a little bit more, 120 people. And as I listened to the pitches, my heart started pounding. And a small voice inside kept saying, like, do it. This is your time. And interestingly, I was reading The Magic of Thinking Big at the time. And so the message of stepping up was already at the forefront of my mind. And I was completely unprepared, which is totally outside of my comfort zone. But following my intuition, when the host said, we've got time for one more, I kind of raised my hand a little bit sheepishly. I stood up, took the mic, belly full of nerves. I took a deep breath and actually invited the audience. Some were sitting, some were standing. I invited everyone to take a moment to connect within, to pause, to breathe, to relax their face, relax their shoulders, to feel into their bodies, and to really anchor into the present moment. And I said something like, at the end, I said something like, I'm on a mission to make meditation simple, and something like, don't underestimate the power of a deep breath and connecting with your body. And it just felt amazing afterwards. It was a bit painful during, but honestly, it was just so liberating. People came up to me afterwards sharing how much that brief moment meant to them and how the energy in the whole room had shifted. And afterwards, I was on my way home. I literally was just thinking about it, and I asked myself, what is this trying to teach me? And the realization was clear. I have to show up. I have to take every opportunity to share my work. I can feel discomfort and still showcase my goodness. People want and need what I have to offer, and my energy speaks. And so you can ask yourself this question in any moment. You can ask, what is this trying to teach me in any situation where you feel compelled to? And I would experiment with it. I've asked myself this same question in relation to perimenopause, which we've spoken about a fair bit recently. What is this trying to teach me? I've got a little bit of a cold, a bit bunged up. So asking myself the same question, what is this trying to teach me? So much of it is to slow down and to rest, which is very challenging for me. But yeah, we get to ask this same question. about anything, and there is some growth and some insight and some wisdom in here, and then we get to decide what we do with that insight. So when you make this question something light and almost like a go-to, something inside really shifts. You become calmer, wiser, more grounded, more present. You start leading from insight, not reaction. You respond to life with clarity instead of stress. And you come back to your true self. You really can find the good in any situation, in any experience, really quickly, really lightly. And as I say, it really is quite freeing. And for us high achievers, this is gold. You still achieve, you still perform, you still get to be you doing what you love, but you do it with less friction and more alignment with who you truly are from this kind of reframe and positive, inspiring way of looking at any challenging or discomfort situation. So before we close today, I want to gift you a few minutes. I'll play a little music and I invite you to sit quietly with a current circumstance you're navigating, something that's challenging, frustrating, something unexpected, or perhaps unplanned, or perhaps something brave you've actually done recently that you want to contemplate. And from this fresh perspective, from our conversation today and what you've heard from me, and from a place of curiosity and love from within, ask yourself gently, what is this trying to teach me? Notice what rises. It might be a thought, an emotion, or even a subtle insight. Don't force the answers. Simply sit, open to receiving, observe, and allow the guidance to show itself. Allow the wisdom to be revealed. So let me invite you to find a pen and notebook to capture any insights. Take a few minutes as a gift to yourself to connect with your inner mentor, to see the lesson and to feel the growth that's already present in your experience. Let's begin. Well done, lovely one. That's 5 minutes of some sacred reflection time. You can, of course, pause here and give yourself a little bit longer if that feels right for you. I hope you received what was meant for you. And if you didn't, that's okay. You can always come back to this whenever it feels right for you. Just be sure to keep an open heart and contemplate from a place of curiosity. Take the growth, take the lesson, and sit with it and see where it takes you. See where your next move resides. So here's my final invitation for you. This week, ask yourself this question. What is this trying to teach me? In the little moments, in the bigger moments. Notice what shifts, even in the smallest way. And if you'd like to go deeper, explore your growth with me in a session where we can uncover what's ready for you in this next chapter. Simply book in a one-on-one clarity call with me and we can unpack where you are now, where you want to be, and how we can get you there with this inner wisdom and mentor in mind. So thank you for joining me for another episode of Live Your True Self podcast. Remember, the greatest power to grow and live authentically lies in the questions we ask ourselves and the decisions we then make. If something from today's episode spoke to you and sparkled something within, I'd love to hear your reflections. Feel free to send me a note at support@namishapatelowen.com. Until next time, keep shining your light and may you always live your true self. Namaste. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Live Your True Self podcast. If you're ready to go deeper into your spiritual growth journey, visit me at namishapatelowen.com to learn more about my work and how I can guide you. And be sure you're signed up for Yoga Life Weekly, your love note to inspire who you're being while you're doing. And also subscribe to Yoga Life with Namisha over on YouTube for simple, practical meditations and teachings you can live by every day. It's an honor to guide you in reconnecting with who you truly are. Bye for now.